Oh, yeah, they got it straightened up. This is the city.
Long.
City.
Another one.
I guess it's time to start.
Didn't even have to use the gavel, did I? But I have to do this to be official. This regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for December 17th, 2013 will come to order. I'll ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Item 1.2 of our agenda is the first of 3 public hearings. This first one deals with ordinance 13-23 regarding animal control. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to make a statement pertaining to this proposed change? Hearing none, we move to item 2 under 1.2, and that is ordinance 13-24, which this ordinance establishes a new schedule of fees for animal care and control. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to make a statement regarding this issue? Hearing none, we move to item 3 under 1.2. This ordinance would amend the schedule of fees and charges for play at the Legacy Golf Course. Is there anyone who wishes to make a statement or a comment regarding that? Rusty, I saw your hand first.
I'm Rusty Fox. My understanding is on the new fees on the memberships. Now this is hearsay from me because I wasn't at the last meeting, that they were going to do away with the range balls and the cart and make it a different fee. I feel like myself on a full membership, I enjoyed having the range balls and the golf cart. I felt like that was giving you a full membership. I feel like we could have some partial memberships where you don't have that. I feel like right now, but I guess on my part, maybe I'm behind, but I feel like that I wish y'all would postpone doing something on this for a week or two till we get some more information and see where we're at on it. I mean, my feelings were this was the best membership program. I'm not fussing about the money. I mean, but it hurts me to not be able to have the golf balls, the practice range balls.
We appreciate your input, then. Thank you, Rusty. Art Mulwich is next. Have you got a speech there, Art?
No, as a matter of fact, I don't have a speech, but I do have a handout.
Okay. We welcome.
Briefly, I'd like to introduce myself. There's a summary there. I've lived here for 25 years. I came from Paris. I was on the original Legacy Board in 93, 94. I was a member of the country club before then. Since 1996, I've spent about $2,000 or more every year playing golf at the Legacy. There's probably nobody that's more supportive of what's in the best interest of the Legacy than I am. When we originally put together the budget back in 93, 94, it was estimated that 33,000 rounds were required to break even. I believe that the highest number we ever had was 27,000 rounds, and the historical break-even point for the difference between being a daily fee member and being a full or semi-full membership was 42 rounds. If you played less than 42 rounds, you were better off paying a daily fee. If you played more than 42 rounds, you're better off having a membership. My objective is very similar to Rusty's. I'd like to have the board consider a revision to the proposed rates because I don't think they're going to make any progress towards a break-even point. And my other objective is to have the Springfield residents not experience a significant rate increase. Most of the information on there is backup information. There's some competitive costs about 2/3 the way down, relevant fee schedules for other courses. Pebblebrook, one of our nearest competitors, to play the same 60 rounds that I used for my calculations, which is twice a week for 7 months, 48 rounds during the week, 12 on weekends, 60 total. At Pebblebrook, a full membership for 60 rounds is $1,550. Oak Hill in Greenbrier, $2,600. Temple Hills, which is not an easily commuting range, but I wanted to put it in there, a little over $4,200. And the proposed rates for next year are $2,700, which doesn't make us very competitive, except with a private course, which has special considerations. My observations is the new rates unlikely to make a dramatic increase in the total rounds, and the new rates seem to be designed to discourage senior play on weekends. If you look at the bottom, there'd be a 41% increase if I played exactly like I did last year, 22% increase if we look at the special rate they had last year for a full membership of $1,560, or on weekdays for a senior membership period, it's a 17% increase. And those numbers, 17%, 22%, and 41%, seem unreasonable and high for Springfield residents. And I'd like to ask the board to table the present rate schedule and do a little more study to see what will make the most progress towards breaking even and not having a significant rate increase on the Springfield residents.
All right. Thank you very much, Art. Any other comments on this issue? Declare the public hearings. Excuse me, didn't see.
No, that's all right. He can talk during when we do the.
We're going to
actual
let
discussion.
you talk when we get to the discussion standpoint from our side, okay? Okay. All right, we will move now to length of service awards. We've got a number of employees who are being honored tonight. We appreciate their service, and I'm going to ask the board if they will come around and stand with me as we hand out these awards. It's always a pleasure to do this recognition each year as we honor our employees. Springfield has approximately 250 employees spread across all of the departments of the city, including all of the utilities and all of those that are under the general fund. These employees, in many cases, that you will see tonight, have been with us a long time. The last few years, given the economy, they've had to experience dramatic increases in their what's required on health insurance, particularly with the deductibles. They've done without raises. We want to let you know that despite where we've had to do belt tightening, we do indeed appreciate you. This is one of the things that we do to honor. So that's what we're about tonight. As I call your name, you will come forward, please. First is Officer Jennifer Holmes. Right here, please. 5 years of service. Next, with 5 years of service, Christopher McKissick. Christopher's with water, wastewater, and we already did for 5 years of service. Next is Brett Taylor, also from water and wastewater. Brett here tonight. Another 5-year award, and this one to Timothy Winford. I like your response. Okay. And now to the 10-year level, we have Officer William Johnson, Springfield Police. And now, with 10 years of service, the Director of Water and Wastewater, Mr. Roger Masters. Okay, and now with 15 years of service, I can't believe I've known that fellow that long. Chuck Bowles, Charles Bowles. And another police department employee with 15 years of service, Nina Crouch. And with 15 years of service, it says Kenneth N. Fisher, and I didn't even know him for a second because his name is Neil. That's if I didn't say so, Neil was with the fire department. The next 15-year award goes to Elizabeth Leonard, also with Springfield Police. And with 15 years of service, Lieutenant Don Stites, Springfield Fire Department. Fifteen years of service with Springfield Electric, Jarvis Summers. 20-year awards, and we have first Alice Higgard with the Water Department. And again, with 20 years of service, and this one from the Electric Department, Nikki Benson. Yeah. Thank you. And another 20-year award, and this one goes to Tracy Tate, who's with our utility billing.
She said she'd try it again.
All right.
Obviously she did.
Jane had that before. And now, with 25 years of service, this one, for a gentleman who's in the gas department, Sam Andavazio. And along with that goes a $50 gift certificate to Lowe's. Next, from the Springfield Police Department with 25 years service, Ed Lemon, Sergeant Ed. Ed's an undercover officer. Also a $50 gift. The next 25-year award goes to Officer David Martin. Wait, man, you don't cry again. I'm not going to take it. Thank you, David. We appreciate it. And our last award this evening is a gentleman who has served the city as the head of the maintenance department for our city shop. It maintains all of our city vehicles with 35 years of service, as I said, and a $250 gift certificate, Ricky Harris. And now let's give all of these employees a round. And since these individuals and their families are being rewarded tonight, they also have the privilege of leaving. Some people, some in the front row wish they could probably. We are turning the heat down a little bit, I can tell you that.
Thank you.
We need some air conditioning up here.
We will in a little while.
I'm sweating. I'm all nature. So. If I'm melting, y'all are done.
All right, as we move now down the agenda, 1.4 is the approval of the minutes from the meetings of October 1st and November the 19th of this year. Is there a motion that
So
these
moved.
minutes be approved? Is there a second? Any discussion? If you favor the approval of these minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So ordered. And now to the legislative portion of tonight's agenda. 2.1 covers ordinance 13-18. This is a third and final reading on this proposed ordinance, which would rezone a tract of just under 1 acre of property on Ruth Street owned by G.S. Moore and Son from MPO, Medical Professional and Office District, to MRO, which is Multiple Residential and Office District, and this is for some condominiums that are going in on Ruth Street behind Daly's Market. Is there a motion?
So second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll. Ms. Connie?
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis. Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Has it been decided whether the number there is 8 or 12 or in between on that? Do we know? Yeah.
It really doesn't matter.
This doesn't cover that. I mean, does not allude to that. It allows it to be done, but does
Yeah.
anybody know what he's going forward with?
Well,
that?
I think he wants to do as many as 12. The site plan will dictate how many can be put there, but I
Okay.
think they probably can put 12. But we took the number out because it's really not necessary for the rezoning.
Okay. All right. We move now to 2.2. This is ordinance 13-19. This also is a third and final reading. This would amend the current budget by changing certain general fund and utility fund budgets. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion? Paul?
Mayor, I was hoping we might be able to have an amendment to the motion. We've added water fund into this, and there's only 2 changes. We got the reimbursement from TDOT on the water line relocation on 431 South. It can be applied to other projects. So that's additional revenue of $406,648 on the revenue side. And also, because it'll be used for capital improvement projects, it increases the expenditures for capital improvements in the water department by $406,648.
So you want an amendment there to correct that?
Amend to include the revenue and expenditure changes for water as well.
All right, is there a motion to amend?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay, duly seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, please call the roll on the amendment, please.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
Now, back on the main motion, is there any discussion? Please call the roll, Connie.
Head.
Yes.
Carneal.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right. 2.3 is ordinance 13-20. This also is a third and final reading, which would rezone 15.5 acres of property on 41 North from restricted industrial to CS commercial services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Mr. Dudding, do you need to say anything about this?
No, I think we're fine, Mayor. We made an amendment at the last meeting, and it's ready for final reading.
All right. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Carneal.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Sneed.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right. The top of your next page, item 2.4. This is ordinance 13-21. It's final reading. This would rezone a 4.31 acre tract of property at 2504 Memorial Boulevard, owned by the 1990 Company, an LLC corporate group. And this would change it from commercial general and MRO, multiple residential and office, to CS, commercial services. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on this item? Hearing none, I'll ask Ms. Connie to call the roll.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Snyder,
Aye.
Carnell,
Aye.
Sneed,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Ellis,
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
All right, 2.5 covers ordinance 13-22. This also is the third and final reading, which would rezone the selected properties located on the north and south sides of Memorial Boulevard between Fifth Avenue and the right-of-way of CSX Railroad from CC, Core Commercial, and CG, Commercial General, to CS, Commercial Services. Similarly, as the preceding one. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion now on this. Please call the roll.
Mason.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Abstain.
Snyder.
Aye.
Passed 6-0 and 1 abstain.
All right. Now, 2.6 is in regard to ordinance 13-23. This is a second reading entitled Animal Control. Is there a motion that this be considered?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
And 2.7. This is ordinance 13-24, also a second reading, and this establishes a new schedule of fees for animal care and control services. A motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this item? Please call the roll.
Head.
Yes.
Carnell.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
Now, 2.8 is ordinance 13-25. This is a second reading. This ordinance approved would annex certain property for Robertson County on behalf of the Robertson County School Board and adjacent properties of the Batson family consisting of 19.86 acres on Batson Parkway, and would adopt a plan of services for the property. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
2.9 is ordinance 13-26. This is a second reading also, and would amend the schedule of fees and charges for play at the Legacy by rescinding ordinance 12-12 in its entirety and substituting the proposed schedule of fees. Is there a motion?
So move.
A second? Second.
A second, get it on the floor.
All right. Now discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Snyder.
one of the questions I asked last month was about the cart fees and the annual membership. And being a golfer, we enjoy having annual fees so that you're just paying one time a month. And when I go home and I figure out if you play 3 times a week, that's, and go ahead and figure it on 52 weeks, that's $1,560 that we're increasing our memberships. I realize that we have to raise our rates and we have to make money with the golf course, but I'm afraid we're going to run our players off.
All right. Other comments? Paul, I saw you first.
Defer to any.
Well, Mr. Mayor, the presentation that we saw, the management last month that presented to us. I thought the fees were going to go down per round.
Now, Paul, you want to
Yeah,
clarify?
we'll explain that. We have not been able to get much over $80,000 a year in 18 years, and I'll tell you why. Because on these special memberships, people are paying way beyond, they're playing way beyond the number that you would expect, and so the rates are actually very low. Also on these, they play so much that they block out people who would pay more, the general public, to play. And so my big issue with Billy Casper is challenging them to get somebody in here who can drive revenue. It's important that our people who play the golf course often, and we want them to, and we want them to get a reasonable discount. The discounts are unreasonable when you play the number of rounds that people play, and Josh is going to demonstrate that to you tonight. I said, get me some examples, some models. Take comparisons so we can take one person if they played under today's rates and what they're going to get. And I think there's a lot of give and take on here. There are some other issues that will help. We're going to give some discount to Springfield members. Springfield people don't get a discount. You know, you can either buy a membership or you don't. You don't have to be a Springfield resident to have it. Josh has put in here that Springfield residents alone will get some dollar discount off the top. But what we're also trying to encourage as well is because there are abuses at the golf course. People are going out and they're not checking in. They're doing whatever the heck they want out there. And quite frankly, if it were solely up to me and that were my golf course, there'd be a few people not playing there anymore because of the abuses. But I'll leave it at that. But what I've asked Josh to do is to come up and present to you some scenarios so you'll have a better understanding of it. Because when you just understand what people are paying now and what the options are going to be, a matter of fact, I think you're going to realize that for some people, it's a better deal not to get the annual fee, but to pay the preferred player pass. So, Josh, Mayor? with your
Josh, come
permission.
forward. Tell this audience who you are.
I'm Josh Jeppy, the general manager at the Legacy Golf Course. First off, you know, when we talked last month about this, you know, I told everybody that I'm new to the area, so I'm a fresh set of eyes for the Legacy, and kind of what Paul was just speaking about there was who's taking advantage of us and why did we let them? And that's part of the reason why I was brought here, to make sure that we're not being taken advantage of anymore. And the thing about the memberships is that it's one of the smallest amount of our total rounds anyway at the golf course. And since day one from being here, it seems for some reason that we're more worried about that small percentage than the big percentage. 90% of our rounds are coming from outside, our non-member rounds. 60% of our rounds are coming from outside of Springfield. So it bothers us when we have to hear everybody talking about why aren't we making it easier, more easy for someone from Springfield to come and play? Why aren't we making it easy for everybody to come and play, is the question. We're not 20 miles down the road closer to Nashville. If we were, Josh and John take care of the course to the point where we'd probably be the most popular course in the state. But we're not that close to Nashville. We've got to get people in here any way possible, and one of the ways we did this was to lower those rates. And Art, and when you were talking, you talked about discouraging senior play. Well, I beg to differ. And Art, when we talked about it, I added a senior rate on the weekends. There hasn't ever been a senior rate on the weekends. Last year, a senior had to pay $48 to play our golf course, and they were treated as a non-senior. Now, we put in a senior rate for them at $35 on the weekend, and with an advantage card, it would take their round down to $30. Now we're competitive with our rates. We weren't before. We had the best golf course in this area. Pebblebrook, Oak Hills, all these courses can't match us conditions-wise. And now they can't say that they're cheaper than us either. So everything that was set up here was also about 60 rounds. That's not what they're playing. They're playing 100 to 200 rounds. And with this handout that I handed you here, it shows the 2013 APR and what the 2014 APR would be for the new membership rates. We're still giving them a significant discount. Are the rates going up? Yes, they are, for the memberships. But they had to, because we made a mistake last year, and the rates were too low. And now we're rectifying that. We're going to fix the membership rates, and we're going to simplify them. We talked about this last month. There's just too many options. You could come to our golf course and have 12 to 20 different options to get a membership. Well, not anymore. Now there's 3, and there should only be 3. If we want to talk about adding an all-inclusive package, I'm fine with that. I am. It's going to be more expensive than the one last year, but we can talk about it. I don't think we need to stop and not vote yes on the rates now. We can talk about adding another rate in for an all-inclusive package. But these rates are where they should be. If you look on the page here, and I can give this to anybody, I got plenty of copies.
Josh, for the public to hear this,
Yep.
could you, when you go through your model, will you explain and call out the prices that were paid this
Absolutely.
year versus next year?
Well, what you need to take into account here is I had to take a generalization, an average of all the memberships from last year, because there was 5 different ways to sign up for a 7-day pass. And it would be all the way up to $2,100, where you could have 5 family members on it. And this is one of the reasons we were getting away from this. Too many options, and 25 players for $2,100 would account to not even $40 per player, and just over $40 per player to play unlimited golf all month long. What business can survive that way? That's the problem. We're not treating this as a business. This has been treated as something for the city of Springfield, the members of the city of Springfield, to just come and use at their pleasure with these memberships. And we got to get rid of that. We got to start talking about making money. So with the APR for the 7-day pass in 2013, if you played just 100 rounds, it would take your APR down to $16.95 per round. Now mine at 100 rounds would be $26, but you got to take into account that's anywhere from $20 a round to $40 a round, because it's a 7-day pass. But if you go all the way down to 200 rounds, which, believe it or not, there's some people that are even playing more than 200 rounds a year, it would take their rate down to $8.48 a round. We're not making any last year. So in 2013, you could, at 200 rounds, you could play as many times you want, and if you got to 200 rounds, it would get you down to to single digits, under $9 a round. Mine is going to have it at 200 rounds would be $18. That is a $9 increase, but it's still a significant discount off of the rack rate. So that's just the 7-day pass. The APR for the weekday pass, which again for 2013, there was a bunch of different options, so it is still an average. At 100 rounds, your rounds at 100 would be $11.10. Mine would take you down to $20, which is still a significant discount. So the rates, and it's pretty down the board, we could go over all the numbers. We're saving them money for signing up for annual passes, just not as much as we did last year. They are still saving a significant amount off of the rates.
Okay, but the cart fees, are they in that
That's
rate?
included. I included the $10 in my rates. So we just need to get past that. And I know.
Okay, so if I'm playing 150 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the finance person's got to use the calculator.
I got you.
Take it down.
And these 2014 rates, while we're still talking about it, they are including these APRs that I put here are for City of Springfield residents. So it includes the $200 discount that we built into it. So the week, let's say the weekday pass would be 100 rounds, would be $1,000 for your player's fee, which we got to get away from calling it a cart fee, because our cart fee is $15. Go ahead.
Okay, so the $800 for the senior pass
Yep.
divided by 12 is what, $66?
It's like $67 a month.
So
And then plus, if you play 100 rounds,
150 rounds, you've included
$1,500.
the extra for the cart fee.
Yeah.
Okay,
Pretty much what I did was at 100 rounds, you times it by 10.
right.
That's $1,000, and then you add your 800, and then you divide that, so it's 1,800 divided by that.
With no
That-
golf balls and, okay, no range.
Well, and that's the other thing, and you brought up the point about the range balls, and we're not making, with these memberships, with not having all-inclusive, well, having pretty much everybody signed up for all-inclusive now, we're not making any money off range balls. You know, to be honest with you, I don't know why you guys would approve me any money to buy range balls if we're not making any range balls any money off the range ball program. So we got to get away from adding it, but what we added in there was half price. So you still get your preferred tee times 2 weeks in advance. So you still have a chance to get that prime real estate on the tee sheet. You just can't get it for $20 less than the rack rate. We still want to give you a discount, just not that significant of a discount.
All right, any other questions of Josh from the board members?
Go ahead.
Only thing I've got, Mayor, is maybe, has Rusty, have y'all seen this? These figures? Good. I'd like for them to look at this as a rebuttal and postpone the voting on this till a little bit later in the agenda.
If you're wishing to postpone, you know what you need to do. You need to vote, you need to make a motion to table.
Well, Josh, I don't have any questions right now. Let's just, all this is dropped on us right here. I'd like to table the motion till later in the agenda, just place it toward the end, Mayor, and we'll just.
Now, I think tabling is to the next meeting. That's not to the end of the meeting, that's to the next meeting. Am I correct on that?
I don't want to do that then.
Okay.
I'd like to table it till later.
Okay. So you're not,
No, I cancel
now,
that.
Paul.
Yeah, I'd like to make the point that really, if you're going to give this, you need to give them the ordinance so that they can figure what, because there are things that are added and subtracted, and so just giving them Josh's example isn't going to help them much unless you give them the proposed ordinance to look at as well. But Josh has worked this all ways, and I think it's in the very best interest of this golf course.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hubbard.
you know, you made about 3 very intriguing points about how we were missing making money and how some abuses was getting there because we were trying to be fair. And yes, the inception of the golf course was to appease our citizens, to promote growth and stuff like that. But the hidden factor, just like you emphasized, and like we've been complaining for 15 years about that golf course, is making that money.
Yeah.
So I commend you for finding ways where we can make the money.
Other
If our,
Bruce?
if our fees for last year were out of whack, I think it's because we took the recommendations of Billy Casper Golf.
Yeah, I would agree there, and like I said, there were multiple mistakes made last year. Memberships were one of them, and they were on us, but we rectified the mistake, and Billy Casper rectified it by bringing me here and eliminating the problem. So, I mean, that's been fixed also. I mean, that's why I'm here. I'm coming from, I know I'm an outsider of this area, I'm coming from Maryland, I'm coming from a place that tried everything. It's not always about actually making money, it's about trying to make money. Actually going out there and trying to make it happen, and that's what we're trying to do now.
Let me give you a little history, and then I'm going to shut up.
Bruce, were you through with your question?
Follow-up question.
Yep.
Within your plans, I've heard that up to this point, our for lack of a better word, security, no one who's playing golf on the golf course has been very lax.
Yes.
Your plans include
Yeah.
to tighten that.
Yeah, I can talk about that real quick. From really day one, I could tell that we were being taken advantage of in more than one way, and not just about the memberships, about making sure we know who's on our golf course. And, just recently, Josh is putting together some signs. We're going to cement them in the ground that claim it's a notice to everybody on the golf course that if you're not supposed to be here and we catch you out here, you're no longer welcome here. So that's part one. And that's, people are going to read those signs. More than likely, we're going to have to put one back up because somebody's going to knock it down. But we're going to keep plugging at that. The other side to it is the actual organization changing of how we get them their golf carts and get them out onto the golf course. Currently, the labor is really only set up to have somebody in the pro shop and have maybe one person picking the range, pulling out carts, cleaning carts. Well, we're going to maneuver our people around a little better where we can have somebody outside grabbing receipts and getting the keys to the people outside. So we're taking it out of the pro shop because we can't check somebody in, watch the tee, and making sure they're all going. We're going to have an actual starter in place. And you don't get out onto our golf course until your whole group's there with a receipt. That's Billy Casper policy, and it will be followed to a T. And that we're still going to have somebody driving off their property onto our golf course, and if we have the ability to have a ranger out there with labor that day, and we see them out there, we'll handle it. The goal is to catch one person, make an example out of that person, and never have to do it again.
Paul, did you have a question about that? Mr. Ellis, go ahead.
On this you've given us, you're talking about a 7-day pass. Now that's 7 days a week. Then you go to a weekday pass, that's 5. Is that correct?
Yep, and this,
Okay.
yep.
Now, it says in 2013, that 7-day pass, you have $16.95. Now, is that what it costs to get a 7-day pass?
No, that $16.95 is take into account their monthly payment, the average of what they paid, because like I said before, it could cost for a 7-day pass anywhere from $140 to $230 a month. That's the span, and that's the other thing we wanted to talk about. Like the family membership was set up for mom, dad, son, daughter, a household. Well, that's not how it was. That's not how it worked. We have stepfather, stepson, uncles on passes together. Simplifying these will eliminate those problems. So the $16.95 at 100 rounds is the average of what all those 7-day memberships cost divided into that 100. And it ends up being $16.95 a round.
That is, if you pay that $16.95 12 times, not pay that, you divide it by 12, is that what you're saying?
The $16.95, well, you would times it by 100. So it's whenever they play, if they played all their 100 rounds in 3 months and didn't play the rest of the year, they played their 100 rounds that in 3 months, they would cost them on average $16.95 a round.
Okay.
They don't have, that's not the actual dollar figure they're giving me. They're giving me anywhere from $140 a month to that $200+ a month.
Well, here you're showing $1,695 in the year 2013.
Yep.
Then you're saying that as you move it, the 7-day pass to 214, you're saying $1,600. Now, does that include the $200 reduction for city?
All these 2014 rates include the $200 discount.
Discount.
Yep. So the $26 at the top at 100 rounds. So you're thinking $2,600 is what they would be at 100 rounds is pretty much what they would be paying. But like I said, the problem is the 7-day passers are playing anywhere from 150 to 250 times a year.
One of the things you have to keep in mind is what does a person off the street, if they were just to come and play,
See, and
If
that's
they
the-
paid 50 rounds at $40 a round, that's $2,000.
And that's what the number at the bottom is, that non-member round is the average rack rate that they would be paying if they weren't a member. The annual passes aren't for everybody. They're set up for whoever wants to play 100 to 200 times. It makes sense to do it. But if you're not going to play 100 to 200 times a year, don't sign up for the annual pass. Pay the rack rate or the advantage card rate.
Yeah, memberships have always, at this point, memberships are always going to be a problem if you have people that pay really an unreasonable amount.
Yep.
They're supposed to give a reasonable discount, but you can take advantage of this beyond where we're making money.
So
With
just
regard to Mr. Head's point last year, yeah, Billy Casper did that, but I'm going to tell you, the pro out there lost his focus. He thought it was going to be beneficial to please certain people out there because that's who he sees all the time. He forgot that he worked for the city of Springfield and the citizens of Springfield, many of whom could not even afford $40 to play a round of golf.
Yep.
And to have this advantage is really an insult to the citizens. So we really need to have a real careful look at this. And, you know, let's make sure that we can justify having to take tax money to subsidize this operation.
All right, are there any other members of the board want, Ann?
Josh, I want you to understand that I think that you have come a long ways with the golf course, and we're not beating you up.
Even if you were, I can take a punch. I'm all right with it.
We've come a long ways
Yeah.
in a short period of time, so please understand that. Okay, so what I'm hearing from you is all of these folks are paying 250 rounds plus.
No,
Not all of them, but the ones that are,
you know, and it seemed like the number that was given out was 60. They're not playing 60 rounds. That number is to show that they're actually still paying more per round. They're all playing 2 to 3 times a week, and if you times that by, you know, the weather hasn't been good this month, but on average 2 to 3 times a week times 52, it's not 60 rounds. That math doesn't make sense. It's 150 rounds at 2 to 3 times.
So my accounting brain tells me that we need to go back to the drawing board and look to see what some of these other golf courses around are doing.
Well, that's what we did. That's, you know,
But
if
the
we want.
memberships
Yeah,
and
well,
other-
we can't, if we want to talk about Country Hills or whatever, I'm fine with that if
I'm
you
not
don't
sure
think
we
enough.
should get out of the state of Tennessee and see what some of the other places are doing.
You're talking about out of the state of Tennessee?
Yes,
and-
because my accounting brain is saying, maybe we shouldn't offer membership.
Well, I mean, and in all due respect, your accounting brain should say we should try to make money,
Absolutely.
and that's what we're trying to do.
And we've got to
and-
make sure, though, that I had a phone call from a lady, her husband has a membership,
Mm-hmm.
and no one else in their group has a membership. And you tell me tonight that's pretty rare.
It's very rare. Most of our members play together. So when they block up a tee, they block it up, and it's blocked with a very extremely discounted round. And it's very rare that 2 members bring out 2 non-members to play with them. It's just, you know, and I invite all of you out to the golf course. Come on out and, you know, we'll give you a tour of how it works on a daily basis. It's not happening.
But we don't want to also run off the people who are giving us this money either, and
that's
not
what,
bringing people.
well, I would say what the number shows, we're not trying to run them off. We still want to give them a discount. We just can't, you know, lose the house on it.
I don't want to lose the house.
I don't either. I wouldn't have came down here if I wanted to lose the house.
All right, we've had a good discussion on this.
I don't know that golf balls and range balls are really costing us that much.
Do you know how much they cost us? I mean, the range balls are, to fill that machine, and you got to also think about our range setup. It's very easy to lose range balls. So if I ran out of range ball, it probably won't happen, but if I have to fill that machine up completely because we're out of range balls, it's probably going to cost me $5,000 to fill that machine up. Range balls are not as inexpensive as one might think. They're
And we
just
have
not.
repaired the net.
We
so
have
we're not
repaired,
losing.
we've repaired the net, and I think that's the other thing to think about. You know, it's not just about making money. We want to treat the city of Springfield to a great golf course, and it's not so much about giving them a discount as much as it is when we get that money in, what are we going to give back to them at the golf course with it? You know, what else can Josh and John do out there because we're making money? And then we're saying, hey guys, yeah, the memberships went up, but look what we gave to you. That's where we need to get to.
Mr.
A
Hubbard?
quick comment. See, I'm liking what you're bringing, because I've been sitting there fighting this almost 18 years of, you know, it seemed like we were just pouring money in and not getting our money's worth and stuff, okay? I always wanted, since the dedication day, understand, since the Raymond Floyd told us that this could be one of the best golf courses in the state of Tennessee. We could have major tournaments and stuff like that. And it just seemed like from day one, okay, that we didn't have that vision from when we owned it. Then we start getting other people to run it. Mm-hmm. And so right now, I'm more comfortable with what you're saying, see? Because it's a fact of getting back that respect, getting back that vision. We've been turning this corner, okay? Because I get the comments from everybody. I don't play golf. I get the comments, one of the best golf courses, very hard to play in the state, okay? Mm-hmm. In the mid-state. So I like that. But we got to have some discipline in it, and so I thank you for that, okay?
Are there any other comments or questions?
I have a question.
Mr. Ellis?
On the sheet you gave us,
Yes, sir.
it talks about the senior pass,
Yep.
and I guess that's paid 12 times. Is that what you're saying? That's
Yeah, so this is,
once a month.
so it's, that number on the right, how that works is the senior pass is $800 for someone in the city that lives in the city of Springfield. So right off the bat, there's $800. And then if they were to play 100 rounds, they have to pay that $10 player's fee, which would take it up to $1,800, and $1,800, then $1,800 into that 100 would be $18 a round once they hit that 100 mark. So in the reason it says NA on the side there, well, that's the other thing, we're discouraging senior play. We're not. We added a senior membership, a specific membership for seniors. $67 a month is pretty inexpensive for a membership, no matter where you look.
Okay, any other questions?
I just have a statement, and I'm going to stop then. I like a lot of your ideas. I think you're the first one that's proposed something. I would like to see, and I don't know how you do this because people pay different. I'd like to understand what it cost last year and what it's going to cost people this year. That's the only thing, and I don't understand. I mean, I don't see that.
Well, okay, I mean, so right here, and this, the problem with this is there were so many options that it makes that 2013 number actually hard to gauge because we allowed so many options. So right off the bat, this number on the side is based off of one number. And for the 7-day pass, it's $1,800 with a $200 discount, which this number represents that $200 discount for the city of Springfield. So that $1,695 would be $1,695 for them to play 100 rounds this year, 2013. Now next year, at 100 rounds, it would be $2,600. But if you look at the bottom, the average non-member rack rate is $36.50. So they're still saving almost $10 a round at 100 rounds.
I heard you say $2,600.
Yeah,
I can't find that. I mean.
Okay,
I
so
see
on the left side,
I see the $1,695 down to this year in 14 coming to $1,600.
yeah, so
What is-
the 2013 number is $1,695, that's APR, amount per round, and in 2014 it'll be 26, which is off to the right.
You're talking about in the middle.
These are not rates.
No, those aren't- yeah.
This is a model
Yeah.
showing what a person would pay on the current rates versus what they will be
So
paying in
last year,
2014?
at 100 rounds, somebody that had a 7-day pass, on average, at 100 rounds, would have paid $16.95. Under the 2014 proposal, they would pay $26 at that rate. Now, they wouldn't pay, that would be, they're going to pay me a monthly fee, and then every time they come in, they're going to pay me $10 player's fee. So that number includes that $10 player's
Oh,
fee.
that's 10, okay.
That includes that number and their monthly fee. That's all included into that number.
Josh has made all the calculations to get to that number.
Yeah.
Everything's included in that number.
Yeah. And then at the bottom, that non-member number is anybody in this room that's not a member walks in, that's the average rack rate from 2013, which was $42. And we brought the rates, we're proposing to bring the rates down, $33 on the weekdays, and then you have your twilights, but your normal rack rate, $33, and then your weekend rate down to $40. So that's why that number came down. So $36.50 is the average of all of our rates, our rack rates during the week in 2014's proposal.
All right, we've spent a half an hour on this, and I know, I want to say, first of all, the changes that Billy Casper has made and with the staff, it's heart-to-heart discussions last year. We had the former group in, and we tried to make our concerns known, and we weren't satisfied with that progress. We talked about conditions of the golf course. We talked about how the buildings, restrooms in particular, needed upgrading, a whole lot of other concerns. And I do think you've gone after these. And we say we're going to make money. What we're saying is this, the whole idea is to minimize the subsidy the city gives to the golf course. Now, there are two different aspects of our cost for the golf course. One is finishing off the mortgage, if you will.
Yep.
And after this year, we like one more year of full payment, which is around, is it
380.
and then we go to 2 years of reduced payments, and it's ours.
Yep.
But in addition to that, we subsidize it an average of about, is it around $100,000 a year? Which more than, okay, about how much now?
About two.
I'd say about 150 on average.
150 on average. Well, the facts are, I mean, that goes with a lot of recreational activities. The center has always cost more to operate than we take in. And early on, it was costing us $80,000 to $100,000 more than it took in. But that's something that the people can use. The golf course is something that people can use, but we do charge fees on top of that to try to defray some of that, because golf is expensive. And I'm looking at an alderman back there that plays former alderman that played a lot of golf, and he always thought we ought to charge the tennis players too, because they have a lot of Ken on the right on that. But we want this course to be improved.
Yep.
The very fact that we have all of that great subdivision around that golf course, the condos, all the single-family homes is a big plus. It's still about 40% filled up, and we're looking at additional growth.
Yep.
And how well this golf course functions, how strong its appeal is, all of this figures into it, and I know that you understand every bit of it. So I appreciate what you're doing. Also appreciate the comments of some regular golfers here. I'm not a golfer. I know that Snyder is, and there are several in the room. And we want to be fair with all concerned, and that's why we're here, to try to judge that issue. So thank you very much, Josh.
And just in closing, I didn't take this decision very lightly either. I traveled 12 hours away from my home to take over here, and part of the reason why was because I believed in the course. I believe in those two guys sitting over there, the job they're doing. So, you got the right people in place. Now we just got to keep pushing.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, lady and gentlemen, we've got a matter before us. Is there any, I think I've asked this more than once. I don't see anybody that's with, Ann? Yes, I do. You want one?
The golfer has to speak, I'm sorry. I'll make it real quick. I think to meet somewhere in the middle, they've worked very hard on these rates. I'm good with the rates. That we add in range balls twice a week.
Is that the only change you propose? Well, you know how to do that. Got a question?
And he's, yeah, you want to comment?
Yeah, I mean, you just give out rainfalls to members twice a week?
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that's costing us money. They're
Well,
used to having them every day that they play. So we're
The more
gonna,
and more we do these kind of things, the more we're opening ourselves up for failure, because how are we gonna police it? We're like, no, that wasn't me that got those rainfalls. Now we gotta come up with a plan to, who did we give rainfalls to this week? We either do or we don't. And at this point, I think the best bet is if we're gonna meet halfway, let's meet halfway. The halfway point was the 50% off of the rainfalls. I mean, you're still talking about $1 and change for a small bucket and $3 for a large bucket. Over 100 balls, you can't go anywhere and get $3 bucket over 100 golf balls.
Is that what you're proposing in this? Is that
was in
just what
that
you said?
for
Okay,
that
that,
first rainfall was in the thing. Now, if we want to go all inclusive, like I said, and that's why I've been putting in there, because I really feel like we're a public golf course and we shouldn't even deal in all inclusive.
I call for question. All right, question's been called for.
if you favor this matter, vote aye when your name's called. If you oppose, vote no.
So are we voting on the original?
We're voting on the original. There are no amendments.
Okay. Carneal,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Sneed,
Aye.
Mason, Snyder, Ellis, Ellis, Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right.
Thank you.
We move now to item 2.10, ordinance 13-27. This is be a first reading, and the title of this, we're amending a section entitled Water and adding a policy entitled Meters that are loaned for bulk sales of water. Ms. Connie will read that proposed ordinance.
Ordinance 13-27, an ordinance amending the City of Springfield Conditions of Service Manual by amending the section entitled Water by adding a new policy entitled Meters that are loaned for bulk sales of water to read as set forth in Exhibit A attached. Whereas it is necessary to establish a policy with regard to water meters that are loaned for bulk sales of water and to establish deposit amounts for such water meters. And whereas Article 4, Section 13 of the Charter of City of Springfield, Tennessee requires legislative actions to amend or set fees. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. Section 1, the City of Springfield Conditions of Service Manual is hereby amended by amending the section entitled Water by adding a new policy entitled Meters that are loaned for bulk sales of water to read as set forth in Exhibit A attached. Section 2, all ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
second.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Mason. Ellis. Sneed.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right. Moving now to 211, top of the next page. This is ordinance 13-28. It's also a first reading. Ms. Connie will read it.
Ordinance 13-28, an ordinance amending ordinance 13-13 and Title 18 of the Springfield Municipal Code entitled Water and Wastewaters by amending Chapter 3 entitled Sewage Disposal by amending Section 18-302 entitled Requirements for Proper Sewage Disposal by adding a new subsection 18-302.7.d to read as set forth in Exhibit A attached. Whereas it has become necessary to further clarify the requirements for proper sewage disposal. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. Section 1, Ordinance 13-13 and Title 18 of the Springfield Municipal Code entitled Water and Wastewaters are hereby amended by amending Section 18-302 entitled Requirements for Proper Sewage Disposal by adding a new subsection 18-302.7.d to read as set forth in Exhibit A attached. Section 2, all ordinances, resolutions of policies in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only.
Need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Discussion?
Second. One question, sir, before we
Go
vote.
ahead, Mr. Evans.
Why are we doing this? What is it? Is this something that's required by EPA?
This is being put in there because we need to make it perfectly clear that if you're going to be in the city of Springfield, we expect everybody to be on sanitary sewer collection system and not septic tanks. And remember, we've done all this annexation because people were wanting to get off of septic tanks, and we can't leave something in here. There's just an opening. It's not addressed at all. So Roger's suggestion was that we put this phrase in here to make it perfectly clear that that's what we expect, that people will be served by a sanitary collection system and not a septic system.
Any other questions before we vote? Call the roll.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Snyder. Excuse me, Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, we move now to the administrative portion of tonight's agenda. We have about 17 items on that, I believe. First is the electric rates, which is a monthly decision we make based on the wholesale price adjustment from TVA, the fuel cost adjustment. You bringing us any good news this close to Christmas, Mr. Gardner?
Not quite.
Bah humbug. We may not approve it tonight then. What you got?
Got a slight increase, 2.127 cents.
2.1.
2.127 cents.
Okay.
That'd be an average of $1.40 to $2
Okay.
on an average residential bill.
Well, we don't like it, but I don't guess we have a lot of
Senior
choice. All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. And a reminder that we do every month, because I think the public needs to be aware of this, that of each dollar of that's collected by us for your electricity, 89 cents of it goes to TVA. Am I correct, Robert?
88 cents.
88 cents, okay. All right, we operate off of a 12% margin. All right, any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Head.
Yes.
Carneal.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
No.
Sneed.
No.
Pass 5-2.
Okay, 3.2, monthly gas rate adjustment. Greg?
We got good news, we're down 0.89%.
Oh, boy, you can rub it in tonight, can't you?
Somebody.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
And now we have on item 3.3 is to possibly take action on some recommended appointments to the Board of Zoning and Appeals. What do we have here, please? You got that?
Yes.
Okay, we have two appointments. The first one is Buzzy Poole's term, which expires on December the 31st. And the second one is to fill the remainder of the late Joe Nicholson's term, which expires December 31st of 2016. Mr. Nicholson represented wards 5 and 6. Mr. Poole was the at-large.
At-large, yeah.
That is my appointment, all
Well,
right?
he's the planning commission representative.
Okay. Oh, this is, that's right, this is
There's a member of
zoning
the planning
appeals.
commission that
Okay.
has to be on.
All right, is there a motion that these appointments, what do we have on that?
Well, George, is there any recommendation from the planning commission about who's going to have is Mr. Poole going to continue? We're going to have a new appointee.
Yes. Mark called these people. Buzzy Poole has agreed to stay on the planning commission,
Okay,
and he will remain to be the Planning Commission representative on the Board of Zoning Appeals. So his terms are still good. Clay has requested that James Alford on the Planning Commission be moved to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And
Does he retain his planning commission one, or comes off of that then?
well, he's the representative for Ward 6. He wants to move him to the BZA in the position of
Joe Nicholson?
Joe Nicholson.
Okay.
And Clay, who,
Move James Alford off the Plan Commission, move him up to fill Joe Nicholson's spot. James Alford's vacancy will be filled by Mike Hollingsworth.
now what about Mike Hollingsworth?
He'll fill the James Alford spot on the Ward 6
Okay.
of the Planning Commission.
He will go to the James Alford spot, right?
And when does that expire?
11/30/2016.
2016. All right, that's the recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Carneal.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Sneed.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Ellis. Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Now we have appointments to the construction board. That's the next item.
Okay, Blake Batson, Ward 1, appointment is still good. Mr. Weaver's, W.R. Weaver's appointment term has expired, and Willie wants to reappoint him for a new term.
Okay.
W.R. Weaver.
Didn't talk to him.
Alfred Borders' term is still good. Pam Swearingen is off in Ward 4. And Ann, you're replacing her with Clayton
Clayton Richardson.
Okay. Jason Reynolds' term is good. Eugene Dotson term has expired. He will be reappointed by Clay. These at-large members are appointed by the mayor. Joe Nicholson will be replaced by Keith Woodall for Joe's unexpired term, be one more year. Charles Cantrell will be replaced by Billy Townsend,
Townsend.
Townsend,
Okay.
for the second at-large seat, and it will be for a full term.
Okay.
And Donald Burkeem's term is still good.
All right, you've heard these proposed appointments. Is there a second?
Move for approval. Second. Well, whichever one.
Second. Well, let's see. We did.
We didn't get any.
All right, you got the motion then.
Yes, sir.
Now, second.
I move for the motion.
Yes.
Okay, you did.
Okay,
You second.
Mason.
Okay, now we got it. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis. Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, now appointment to the Housing Authority Board.
Okay, that is Mr. Farmer's position.
Okay, Mr. Robert Farmer, 5-year term on the board expires this December 31st. Has anybody talked to him? I think we better talk to him before we do it and just
I
carry
believe
this.
they want to keep it.
Beg pardon?
I think they want to keep
Well, if you think so, we'll go on and do it. If he wants to turn it down, he can tell us next time we'll take him up. All right? You gonna make that motion then?
it. Move for approval.
Second. Discussion?
Excuse me, I didn't hear the second. Who second? Ellis.
Mr. Ellis, second. Please call the roll.
Mason.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay, now we have 2 appointments to the Joint Airport Board? Let's see if we're in this here. I don't see it. Let's get up this.
Mayor, we have two appointments. Mr. Lee Scott represents the city and the county, and Mr. Scott's appointment, his term, latest term, expires on 12/31/2013, and he wishes to continue.
Okay.
He will be, have to be appointed by both the county and the city.
Okay.
And then we still have a position for a Springfield resident to fill the position formerly held by Mr. Tracy Langston.
Okay. Anybody have a,
I've looked, I've called some people, but they're either in the county or they don't want to fill with it.
well, we'll let that, if anybody else got any, well, obviously, you would have already said something to us if we had, so let's just carry that over to the next month.
But you can appoint
Well,
Lee
we
Scott.
will do, Mr. Scott's. Who wants to move from Mr. Scott to?
So moved.
Second, all right, discussion. We'll call the roll, Ms. Scott.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay. All righty. Now we've got, discuss and possibly take action on the creation of a utility construction department. This was discussed at the last meeting and was the meeting before that too, I believe, and we have a memo here. Mr. Nutting, do you want to make a statement on that before we take an action?
Well, I think the memo, speaks for itself. I think the intention is good. If we had a lot of open cutting to do, then that is something that would bear consideration. The problem in this instance is that we don't have a lot of open cutting. We're doing different methods that are faster and quicker and less expensive, actually. But I did want to present the information. Mr. Sneed did make a request on, getting us some information so that the board could look at this. And if you look at the bottom of my memo, we've still got some rental equipment. This is a ballpark from one vendor. I think the suggestion was, instead of buying equipment, that we might rent it on a monthly basis or whatever seems reasonable. And then also, there's also a memo from Ms. Holt. Well, you've got Roger's memo, and then we've got another one that deals with just pay. Let me just see if I can get this around the right way. Gina, could you explain that? I think what we're doing is we've got a set level of pay for certain operators and crew leaders, and the recommendation was on this particular crew to increase that one level. So this is just ballpark. I think Mr. Sneed's recommendation was work so many months a year. We put it on an annual basis so you can prorate it any way you want, just so you get some idea what the cost would be, and that's what staff has to offer.
All right. Mr. Sneed, you had proposed this.
That's right.
And if you want to make whatever comments you want to make at this time.
My intention was to get with Mr. Nutting after he got these figures together, and it was not at my request, it was Mr. Heads that wanted you to put this together. I wanted to see what you put together, attend a staff meeting with you and the department managers. So I'm going to make a motion to, of course, that hasn't had time to happen, it wasn't. So I'd like to table this motion until next month, get with you at a staff meeting and review these figures.
Is there a second to that? No second. All right, motion is to table. We've got no discussion on that, so. All right, if you favor the motion to table to the next meeting, please vote aye. If you oppose, vote no.
Head.
Yes.
Carneal.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis. Sneed.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
Right, next is the discuss and possibly take action on Alderman Hubbard's request to attend the National League of Cities Congressional Cities Conference in Washington, March 8th to March 12th. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Can I vote or do I abstain? Abstain.
Abstain.
Oh, aye, okay. Falls out the vote.
Sneed.
No.
Pardon me.
No.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Passed 6-1.
I love you, Mr. Sneed.
All right.
That's not necessary.
Not necessary is correct. 3.9, discuss and possibly take action on the bidding and funding the library expansion. Paul, do you want to make some
Thank you, Mayor.
comments on that, please?
Really, this is just for information. If the board does want to make any type of motion related to the library, we've got this on here. But basically, the library building committee is taking another strategy to make sure that they have enough funding that's committed that they can make a project and get the library expansion moving forward. The suggestion is that they bid the construction of the library to get that first building, the two-story building constructed with two add alternates. One would be to expand, or I'm sorry, to renovate the existing library. Alternate one would be to renovate the existing library, and alternate two would finish the top floor. So the plan is, let's just say we just have enough money to build the building. What they would do is they would move the existing library into the first floor of the new building and operate that until enough money was raised, and then go ahead on another contract and renovate the first floor first of the old library.
And then
The only
move up
floor.
to the new
And then
second
when
floor.
more money was raised, finish out the second floor. So that's the strategy. Regardless, they're still looking for $1 million from the city. We'll have to put in our $1 million, the county have to put in their $1 million. And they have enough money on their end for the time being for that limited project. And then they're hoping to raise more money when people see that the facility is actually well on the way to being constructed.
Well, we have talked about this over many, many years, and we've it's been generally agreed that we would support it to the tune of $1 million. I think it would be in order now to, if you needed, I think you've outlined it very well, certainly at least no later than January, we need to approve our $1 million on that. We kept it in a, they come to us initially wanting more than twice that amount. We curbed it, and they have made certain other concessions, and they are raising additional funds, and I think they've acted in a very prudent manner. But this is a long-awaited project that doesn't need to be held up. So if they're going to try to get it bid in February, we need to be ready with our million. So we could take it tonight, or we can put it on the January, whatever it is. Mr. Ellis?
Do we need to vote on that? Haven't we already approved the $1 million?
You don't need to vote on anything tonight. We are aware that we have to have the $1 million. We just want to make sure that they were keeping on schedule. I think at the last meeting, Mr. Head had made the point, we're going to borrow additional money for sewer anyway. It would be a good time to put this on with that. We just wanted to make sure that if there are any other funding options, maybe on the sewer side, on the library side, it's pretty much going to have to be a straight bond or TML loan, so we know that.
Let's look toward having it, after you consult with the library board, I think we better go on and put that on the,
Is that a yes to his question? it's already been approved by the board, the previous board.
Yeah.
We've
You got it
already
in the
voted on it.
budget, and you
We just have to
Discussed it a
formally
couple
approve
weeks
the
ago.
borrowing. We have already approved giving them $1 million.
We just had to borrow the money.
We have not borrowed the money. That is correct. So let's have that on the agenda for next time. As we keep moving now, we have two taxi franchise applications to consider. One from Mr. Donald Kelly of Patriot Taxi. He's in the back of the room. The other from Mr. Clay Sneed, one of our aldermen, who's the owner of Springfield Taxi. Is there a motion that these franchise applications be approved?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Snyder,
Aye.
Carneal, Sneed,
Abstain.
Head,
Yes.
Ellis,
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Passed 6-0 and 1 abstain.
All right, 601. And I want to thank both of you gentlemen for the improvements you've made in the taxi service in this community. I had a citizen just this week to compliment the cabs of both companies and the operation, and it's certainly needed in a town that has no other public transportation, and we appreciate what you're doing. 311 is to discuss and possibly act on a parade application from the Robertson County Black History Association to hold the annual Martin Luther King Jr. March January 20th from 8 until 9 a.m. It assembles, as it has in the past, at 300 10th Avenue East, the parking lot of Covenant Confirmers Church, and the parade concludes at the center where the program is held. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second. Discussion. Please call the roll.
Mason,
Aye.
Ellis, Sneed,
Aye.
Carneal,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
All right, thank you. 312 is discuss and possibly take action on the city's employee group health insurance. Mr. Nutting, do you want to say anything before we?
Well, thank you, Mayor. We did have a presentation last month with regard to the recommendation that we go self-insured. We've tried to keep the program pretty much the same. Of course, the rates have to change. And so we've had meetings with everyone, and the schedule of fees that Blue Cross and Blue Shield has recommended, they will be administering the program as they administer our insured program right now. And asked Gina to prepare just a schedule of the cost of the premiums for comparison, so you'll have that information.
Okay. All right. Ms. Holt has held the employee meetings. She and Ms. Scott
That's right.
places. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, the meetings went well, and we were able to assure the employees that the plan had not changed whatsoever. The only thing was the price increase on premiums, and the meetings actually went pretty well. Nobody wants to do premium increases, but didn't have a choice.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Snyder,
Aye.
Carneal,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Sneed,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Ellis,
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
Okay. 313 is to discuss and possibly take action on an agreement with TVA for the purchase of the transmission line that runs from Mount Denson Church area to the substation there to Adairsville. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Gardner, do you want to make a statement on that, please, sir? Mr. Gardner is the director of our electric department.
Thank you, Mayor. Back in 2010, TVA finally agreed to construct a power supply at the Russellville District Substation to replace the backup line that they basically took away from us without our knowledge back in 2005 when they disabled the 161 high voltage part of the Russellville feed. So we went back and forth, back and forth. They agreed to provide a source for backup transmission back to our Mount Denson station in the North Industrial Park. And with the agreement that we provide the 69 breaker and the switches
at the Russellville station. We have purchased that breaker and switch, and we are in the process of installing it. We've got a bid out for that right now. The last piece of that is just to build the 2 or 3 spans of line from the Russellville station back towards Springfield, and to purchase the line, the actual purchase of the line, which is what you have before you tonight. So they finally came to terms with the TVA higher management. There's kind of TVA has kind of stopped transferring. They really have stopped transferring facilities and lines. You just can't buy TVA property like you used to. But they did agree to sell us this line for $30,645 in administrative costs plus $1 for the line. And that's what you have before you tonight.
All right, you're recommending this to us then?
Yes, I am.
All right, and certainly it's good to have this backup in place. Is there a motion?
Second.
We've already.
Already got the motion.
Got it, excuse me, we are one ahead of me. All right, any discussion? Paul?
Mayor, I did want to remind everybody that we do have $125,000 in the budget for this project, and so $30,000 is not much. There will be some added improvements that we'll be making, but we have adequate funding for it.
Okay.
We expect to spend, with the bid that we got out right now, somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000 more, but we'll still be under budget, for sure.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Those in favor, vote your preference when your name is called.
Head.
Yes.
Carneal.
Aye.
Snyder. Aye. Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay. 314 is to discuss and possibly take action on an agreement with Griggs and Maloney to submit a pre-proposal for a Clean Tennessee Energy Grant. Mr. Nutty?
Well, thank you, Mayor. We have some expensive pumps that we operate at the water treatment plant. There are some grants out there that will allow us to improve our pumping system. Before you tonight, Griggs and Maloney wants to make, and correct me, Roger, it's a pre-proposal. They're not charging us anything to submit that pre-proposal. And then once that's submitted, they'll come back. If we want to proceed and there's an opportunity to get one of these grants, we can retain them to do any other work related to that.
Okay. You're recommending this?
I'm recommending.
All right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
All right. 315 is to discuss and possibly act on authorizing a contract with TTL for the evaluation of conditions at the damaged sludge basin at the water treatment plant. Is there a motion this be considered?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Mr. LeMasters, do you want to make a statement on this?
We had hired TTL previously to look at the condition of the damaged sludge basin there at the water treatment plant. They had run some seismic surveys, studied across, and tried to determine depth of bedrock, maybe if they could kind of find out where the throat of the sink is. We then had Gresham Smith and Partners come out there with a contractor to kind of give us an idea of what it might cost to repair the basin. Well, the contractor looked at the TTL report, went out and looked on site, and his estimate to fix it, assuming from the TTL report that the bedrock is 60 feet down, that to dig a 60-foot deep hole would cost somewhere around $755,000. With that amount of estimate, we thought we need some more information, because if you're going to dig a 60-foot deep hole, you have to lay it back 60 feet, 120 feet in diameter, basically. Well, you're destroying the basin if you do that, because it's only 100 feet from side to side. So we went back to Gresham Smith and said, look, we need some more information. So we contacted TTL, and they gave us this proposal to do not only some more seismic surveys, but actually, when TTL folks were walking around out there, they kind of tapped on the bottom of the basin. They said it sounds to them like there may be some cavities under some other parts of the basin. So what they propose to do is to drill some small holes, to stick a borescope down there to kind of look around to see if there are some gaps. They'll also do some 4-inch borings to actually go down 2 bedrocks and see how deep it is. They're going to look at some other soundings on other parts of the property, because if we can't realistically rebuild the basin, we're going to have a basin somewhere else. So while they're out there, they're going to be looking at some other areas to see if there are other sites that are sound enough where we can put a basin there.
Okay, so you make this recommendation?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there a motion?
We've already got
Got
We
it?
already got
All
one.
right. Any discussion now? Please call the roll.
Carnell,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Sneed,
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay. 316, discuss and possibly take action on the construction of the rehab of the future headquarters of our water and wastewater department at 1100 Central Avenue. Recommendation is to award this to the Powell Building Group, the amount of $2,628,000. Is there a motion this
So
be
moved.
considered?
Second.
A second. All right, now, Paul.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm handing out the budget for the bonds, the 2013 bonds, because I want to explain to you how we're funding this project and the following project. They're both included in this number. We've had, up until on the second amendment, we had $7,300,000 for the sewer rehab project and $2,600,000 for the building. And of course, we've had some bids now, and the bids on the rehab have come in a little lower, and the bids on the building have come in a little higher. So we're going to shift some money around here to make sure that both these projects can happen. If you look under water, wastewater projects, Phase 1B, priority basins 13 and 14, that is what you are going to look at awarding tonight as far as sewer rehab. And then you have Phase 1A, which is the one that's currently under construction. And then you have all the task orders and related expenses for these projects. So that's going to be now a number of $6,999,970. With regard to the facility rehabilitation and construction, you are now going to have your new bid, $2,628,000, added to the Hastings Architect bill. And I've got contingency in there, really can go to either project, can go to rehab, it can go to the building. We have $74,730 that's really non-committed. So you're still keeping the amount on wastewater projects at $9,900,000, but we shift the allocation around to make sure that we could do both projects. So just want to make sure you were aware of how we were funding.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion now?
Mayor, just a couple of comments. This first thing is, I agree that either the old Precision Products building, a rehab, or removal of that property would be a definite improvement to that area of the city. When we started down this path, when we acquired that property, we had no idea that we were going to be looking at a $30 million sewer rehab project. And I feel like that at this point, it'd be a slap in the face to the ratepayers to spend $2.6 million to renovate that property till we're further along in the sewer rehab project. And for that reason, I'm going to vote against this tonight.
Any other comments?
Why did we not take the low bid?
Because they didn't submit a complete bid. It wasn't a low bid, it was an incomplete bid. They left out the entire roof construction.
Other
Hard
comments?
cancel.
Hearing none, let the vote. Call for the question.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
No.
Carnell. Sneed.
No.
Head.
No.
Ellis.
No.
Mason.
Aye.
Failed 4-3.
Okay. Now, 3.17 is the Phase 1B of the sewer rehab for basins 13, 14. What's the location generally, Roger, of those two basins?
This is out in the, basin 14 is Legacy on the part of Saddlebrook. Basin 13 is Stonegate, church out there, Kroger, and that area through there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mason.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
And now our consent portion of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept the entire consent.
All right, Mr. Ellis, you want a second, your own?
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, second. Please call the roll.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay. City manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just have a brief one. Just wanted to remind everybody that Winter Wonderland at Travis Price Park is scheduled for this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The gates to the park will open each day at 5:30 p.m. And I understand there's been a change in the reindeer schedule. The reindeer will be there Thursday and Friday nights. They will not be there Saturday. So you want to see real reindeer, come Thursday or Friday. Also, I've asked Robert to get me some information on a salary survey for electric utility positions in Middle Tennessee. Other utilities, we are lagging well behind in what some of the other utilities are paying their people, so you can just have that to look at. Okay. And lastly, just want to let you know that I'll be on vacation beginning tomorrow, and we'll return to work on Thursday, January 2nd. And of course, our trusted Assistant City Manager, Gina, will be in charge while I'm gone.
Say no more. Yes, Mr. Hubbard.
Yes, to let you guys know that when I go to represent you, that I'm working and I'm part of a committee, the Community Economic Development Committee. I gave Paul part of our committee work about 10 critical imperatives facing U.S. cities, a conglomeration of the things that's really troubling everyone from the major city down to the local village. We're going to print a copy off and we'll put it in front of you guys' boxes so you can understand that we suffer just like New York City. And we got to have somebody from each one of these villages to go. And then the mayor can tell you this. We do in March go to our national elected leaders and let them know what we feel about what they're doing.
Well, I have said it a few times, and it's certainly been worthwhile.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
To wish to all of you all a very joyous Christmas and Happy New Year, and I appreciate all of those who are present tonight, for those in the public who offered opinions, and to our employees whom we honored, and to all of our employees for the dedication that they hold for their jobs, and the efficiency and the hard work they put into it, and that's from the city manager all the way down to the very newest high employees. Thank you for what you do. We stand adjourned.